All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here with Chelsea today, also known as Honey Gold, and she is a drop shipping expert, and she is going to talk about her experience in the drop shipping world, as well as how easy it is for any one of us to really get started, right, Chelsea?
Yes. So I actually got into this space unexpectedly about 2.5 years ago. Before that, I was a celebrity makeup artist living in Los Angeles, and I never thought I would be making money from behind a computer. Realistically, like I'm so not tech savvy. I'm so not a computer type of person at all. And so, it's kind of ironic that I even make a living from, a Wi-Fi computer type of situation. But that just goes to say, if I could do this, anybody can do this. And I preach that every day to all different types of people. But ultimately, I got into this space because I needed to make more money.
Okay.
Makeup was good money, yes, but when my boyfriend came home from prison 2.5 years ago, he couldn't find work anywhere, and so it put us in a very uncomfortable situation trying to figure out how we were going to sustain living in Los Angeles with such a high cost of living and just one income. And so very quickly we knew we needed to figure something out. And so I started reading and researching, and in doing so, I found out about drop shipping, and I was so intrigued right out the gate. One of the things that really stood out to me about drop shipping was that there were so many young people doing it. Like, when you research, it's not an older revelation. It's something that like a lot of new millennial type of people are doing. And so that gave me a lot of hope. And I was seeing the money that they were making, and some of them were still in high school. I mean,
Wow.
my first mentor was 19, making $250,000 a month. And I was just like, how can I get in on that?
Right.
So that's kind of what sparked my whole interest into this industry. And the more I looked, the better I felt about it. It's a $1 billion industry that's still growing so fast, and so many big companies are utilizing the business model of drop shipping. So I felt confident right away. It was just a matter of, could I learn it? Like, how could I master this skill and figure this out without having the help? And you know, eventually I was able to hire my mentor, but I know before that there was a mental learning curve for me because I had never invested in myself before. And so, I think I was holding myself back a lot because, yeah, I wanted to do this. And yeah, I knew it could possibly change my life, but not knowing where to go or who to turn to or who to trust to teach me was a very big thing that I had to like really break through in order to get to this next level. And so that's definitely what I credit to my success, is me finally being able to break that barrier and hire a mentor. And my first month with him, we made over $20,000. And, with his help, less than 5 months later, we had made over $120,000 in our business. So, that for me led to all different types of investments afterwards and all different types of mentors and mentorships afterwards, because now I'm just obsessed with knowledge and learning things from people who have already done it before me. And so that's what I'm all about, and that's what I'm trying to instill in other women who want so badly to be successful. It's like, it's not our burden to carry. We're not born with a wealth of knowledge, and so sometimes we have to leverage the people around us who know more than we know or who are more experienced than us, and try to build off of that. And so, that's really pretty much what I credit to my success in drop shipping, and what got, the road wasn't always easy, a lot of trial and error. I messed up a ton before hiring my mentor, and even after. A mentor isn't a magic trick. It's not a wizard. It's just someone who is there to guide you and support you. And so that was my first real taste of entrepreneurship, but I was obsessed ever since, embarking on this new project, and it just led the way to opening up so many more doors. I learned so much as a drop shipper. I learned so much about myself, about my courage, and just ability to just withstand anything. And that's how who's meant to be successful and who's not going to really make it, is the people who persevere through the hard times, not just the good times. Nothing's just handed to us in any business. And so just breaking through those barriers and knowing that the life that I want is meant for me and I just have to go out and actually get it now. And so consistency and having that solid mindset is what I credit, in addition to having the guidance with a mentor to, getting us to the point where we're at now. And now I can help other women do the same thing, which has been even more life changing than just drop shipping itself, because now it's not all about me and mine. It's about helping others do this for their families as well, which for me is everything. So
Wonderful.
I think that's
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I know you mentioned that you've never made an investment in yourself like that before. So what actually is the investment that one would need to actually get started into the dropshipping world?
So it's actually a very, very low cost, low startup business model, which is what actually drew my attention to drop shipping.
Mhm.
You can really get started. Shopify has a free trial, the one I have is for 14 days, and I offer that to my students as well. But after that trial period is over, your monthly rent, like, when you have an online website, that's your business, that's your whole business. And so instead of having a brick and mortar location, you have an online website. And so the cost of your website is only $29 a month. That's what your investment is monthly to house and host your business. Other than that, though, the only real cost is marketing.
Okay.
Once your website is up and running, you have to have a marketing budget to actually get your brand exposure and get your business out there. And so, you can start marketing with any type of budget realistically. I mean, each ad set that you run, we start very low with like $5 or $10. So I tell my students, a budget of about $500 to $1,000 is a great starting point to get started. Sometimes even 250. If you're using good strategy, 250 to 500, you should start making sales. But just to be kind of, I just say 500 to 1,000 will definitely get you some skin in the game, get you out there. Millions of people will be seeing your store and your products and what you have to offer. So, the thing about it that, I think is important to note is that, marketing is such a skill. Marketing is something that, like, you really have to have guidance to, because you can blow a lot of money. And what I've noticed in talking to a lot of entrepreneurs is that they kind of have like a bad taste in their mouth about certain business models or certain platforms and things like that, because they've had bad experiences doing things on their own. They'll say, oh, I hate Facebook ads, or, oh, I'm never Google ads. No, that's a scam. That's not real. That doesn't. And it's like, we can't be so quick to write things off just because we didn't take the time to learn them properly or execute them properly. But I lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars when I first started in this industry before my mentor, because, I understood that marketing was going to be what got me there. But before I was ready to bite the bullet and hire my mentor to kind of guide me through it, I was just like, he's 19 making this money. I could figure this out. Like, how
Right.
a Facebook ad be? And whole time I was doing it completely wrong. Like, I was on Instagram and Facebook boosting posts and just hitting promote and thinking that that was it, when whole time, like, you're supposed to be in a whole nother platform running
Yeah, that's my
ads
tag
to
manager.
manager. Yes. And it's like little things like that you think, oh, I'm spending $20 a day. Yeah, I spent $100 this week. And I'm doing it just completely counterproductive to what, my goals were. And so where the investment lies in this industry is with your mentor. It is a low cost business, which is so attractive. Anybody can do this. You could be in high school, you could be a grandparent, you can literally, anybody can drop ship. It's just a matter of that learning curve, more so when it comes to the marketing. That's what I would say. And also just effective product research, because it is an industry that is constantly changing. And so marketing changes. It's not one of those things you learn one time and you can just go and crawl into a cave and expect to still be current. The same tactics that worked in 2000 no longer work today. You can't use the same verbiage. We've already caught on. Consumers have caught on. So There is a learning curve, I would say, from someone who has never drop shipped before or who has always been on the consumer end of things, the person who's always buying products versus the one now trying to sell them. And so a big chunk of my course is kind of training my students to now think like the seller. Now, a whole lot of psychology is involved in getting that person to opt in and buy what your offer is versus you just browsing on the internet and buying everything that comes your way. It's a lot easier to be a buyer, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's all strategy, you know what I mean? And there's a little bit of a learning curve, but as soon as you get it, you'll get it and it'll click and you can utilize. My favorite thing about drop shipping, I think, is that for me, you know how they always say like weed is the gateway drug to like all the other stuff.
Right.
Well, for me, drop shipping was my gateway into the world of e-commerce. And I'm so thankful for that because I could have started in e-commerce doing something else that
Right.
cost me a whole lot of money, like maybe even Amazon FBA, where it is a great business model, but it does involve a spending money up front,
Yeah.
investing in your products.
Right.
And I just think about it, and it's like if I would have gotten started that way and I got introduced that way to e-commerce, I probably would have done very well just because it's in my nature to not give up until I do very well.
Mhm.
But I would have spent a lot of money up front on the product. I probably wouldn't have really known how to have a whole lot of trial and error with the product research. And I may have even sourced the wrong product starting out. And then I wouldn't have really learned effective marketing because Amazon provides the platform. And so I probably would have made really good money, but I wouldn't have learned, such a comprehensive view of what e-commerce entails to be
Right.
successful. And so I'm so thankful that drop shipping was my gateway drug in this whole funnel and this whole process because it taught me for a very, very low price how to do everything. Like you have to learn how to do product research, you have to learn how to build your website, you have to learn like basically the whole funnel and customer journey, and then you have to master marketing. And so you learn that without the platforms charging you an arm and a leg. You learn that for $29 a month. You learn that through trial and error that you can afford to do because you didn't spend $5,000 on inventory to send to Amazon, for example. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I'm just very thankful. And that's what I constantly, when I talk and I do consulting to see if my program is even a good fit for people. And I hear all the rebuttals or the alternatives out there. Like, what do you think of Amazon? What do you think of this and that? And I'm just like, it's not to knock anything, but when I was starting out, I didn't have a whole lot of money and I had to put my money towards what I felt the most confident in.
Mhm.
And being that I never, marketed anything before, really, being that I never really knew what product to sell, not to sell, I didn't know anything about it, I really felt confident going into drop shipping where the whole business model is revolving around you learning and mastering product research, learning and mastering marketing. And so that gave me such an advantage because now I can transition to affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
can everything, and I've learned the skill already and now I can just duplicate
Just
it
kind of
now.
push. You have the
I
roadmap.
love that. And I, because I've recognized that, I've made sure to include that in my course as far as like letting my students know, like when you purchase this course, not only are you going to learn drop shipping and understand the whole business model of drop shipping, product research, website, all that, but the marketing, you're going to be able to apply this. I've made sure that the way we teach our marketing portion of this course, not only are you going to be able to apply it to your drop shipping store, but you can apply this to any entrepreneurial endeavor you ever do because it will require marketing. And so the same strategies that I learned to make my first six figures with drop shipping are the exact same strategies that I've learned to make multiple six figures in my course
Mhm.
that teaches drop shipping. My boyfriend has a relationship mentorship and coaching. We use it for him. I use it for other coaches. It's like it's such a universal thing. You need
Right.
marketing. And so anybody who takes my program, it doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent, it doesn't matter if you sell cupcakes on the corner, you need to know how to market, and you can use Facebook and Instagram ads to do it effectively. And so for that purpose, it's kind of a 2-for-1. But as soon as I realized that, I'm like, I want my students to know that this is a 2-for-1 for them too. Like, not only did these strategies help me do drop shipping and affiliate marketing and this one, that one, but I want them to recognize like these same skills is what's helped me be successful across the board, not just as a drop shipper. Like,
Right.
that's just one of many things that now I can do with these same skills over and over. So
Okay, that's great. That's really good insight. And for someone who has a 9 to 5, right? Their main focus is their job. Would you recommend drop shipping to them who doesn't have a lot of time? Is there a lot of time that's required to invest in getting started and really maintain it? I know you said, marketing is a really big part of it. So does it take a whole lot of time? And, would you recommend it to someone who, has another focus?
I for sure would. I say the quicker you can jump in, the better. When I deal with people with 9 to 5s, their first thing is like, how soon can I quit? You know, I definitely don't suggest ever just quitting your job to
Yeah.
jump off into something until you get the wheels turning and the ball rolling a little bit and see what you can do in that space first. But absolutely, like jump in and allocate time. Your 9 to 5 is 9 to 5 hours of you investing into someone else's dream.
I
It's
say that
clearly
all
not
the time.
your dream. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
99% of the time, unless you're like a doctor or a lawyer, something you're like very passionate about, I guess. And
Mhm.
even then, whatever. But for the most part, we're spending those hours investing into someone else's vision, dream, whatever the case may be. Your job as an entrepreneur should not stop after you get off of work and get home. And as exhausted as I know we all are after a 9 to 5, that's your time to now start your focus on your business and what it is that you are passionate about doing for you and your family. And so I always tell my students, look, even if it's an hour a night, while you're in bed, the best thing about drop shipping for me is that all you need is a computer, an iPad, whatever. Get in, start researching. You can, for me, drop shipping, it became kind of like a stress reliever at some point, because in the beginning it was so stressful. I just needed it to work. I was like, oh my God. There's nothing leisure about it. I'm not gonna lie to you, because for me it was like, if this doesn't work, I might be on the street. Like,
Right.
so it was a little bit more stressful than what I'm making it seem right now. But once things got smoother for me, I just remember I would just sit with my cup of coffee, have my computer on, some music playing, and I would just do product research for a couple hours a day. And it was fun for me. And it's not a business that's tedious or tiring. It's more so like mental strategy and just thinking creatively kind of thing. But you can absolutely do this alongside of anything that you do. It's a very self-paced type of thing. Your business runs as long as you run. If you decided one month, you know what, I don't have the time, or one week, I don't have the time to do this, nothing bad happens. You're not going to get fired. You're not going to, your business isn't going to run into the ground. It's simply just not going to move. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so that's the good thing about it, that I found, like, if I wake up one day with, I used to get really bad migraines back then, I remember. And like, there were days where I couldn't even stand looking at the computer screen, and I would just be so stressed out. But then I would have to tell myself, like, you know what? This is not a job. Like, yeah, the bad news is that you're not going to get a step further towards launching today or towards making money today, but it's okay. Like, I'll just do it tomorrow. And
Right.
that was like a very liberating feeling, because I had never really been able to do that before. I'm like, okay, this thing works when I work. Okay.
Right.
And so, you can absolutely kind of do this at your own pace. Of course, the sooner you just knock it all out, the more time you can put into it. Obviously, you're going to be able to check everything off your checklist and be able to launch and start getting closer to that point where you can make money. Because in this business, it's very step by step. There is no skipping around. And what I mean is, you can't go from having an idea to making the money
Mhm.
without all the steps in between, because the store has to be built from the ground up. So
Mhm.
you literally have to physically, not physically, but on your website, do certain things. And so every day you can work on maybe this category of your store. If you're going to do a beauty store, focus on, beauty the beauty page today.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, do the checkout page. The next day, do the contact us page. It's so easy to kind of manage your time. And then when you're done and you see it all before you, you're like, wow, I did that. Like I built a website from scratch, and it's so much easier than it sounds. You know what I mean? Like we get so daunted by all these like terms and all these, phrases and things like that. And it's like immediately you're like, I'm not a web developer. What the
Right,
heck? Like I
right,
can't
right.
build a website. Girl, I could barely handle my Instagram page.
I'm
Like
the same way. I am not a tech person, but
I'm
if I
not a
can
tech
put an
person.
email sequence together in a funnel, I'm gonna get it done.
Oh, can't do a funnel or an email sequence, but I know people that can, and I'm gonna get the job done one way or another, you know? And so it's just a matter of that, you know, like just piecing the pieces of the puzzle together and moving at your own pace and just doing it whichever way works for you, as long as you get it done.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Right. Very important. So you also mentioned that having a mentor was an integral part of your success. So how would you suggest other people actually research for a really good mentor or find the right places to get the right education and the right knowledge to actually get started the right way in dropshipping?
That's a really, really, really good question. You know what? That's a hard question to answer because as much as like I was a fan of YouTube University,
Yes.
I do have to say that like now that I understand what I understand
Mhm.
about business marketing especially,
Mhm.
I do appreciate YouTube for free content. I do.
Mhm.
However, now that I understand what I know, especially about the coaching side, it's like nobody's giving their everything for
Mhm.
free. That's just not happening.
Mhm.
They're doing what they're doing to give free value in hopes that you buy into something of greater value. And so before this, I didn't understand that. And I'm just looking at YouTube as a like a end all be all. This is my Bible. This is my resource of knowledge and it's free. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just wasn't understanding why I was following the information I was given, but not getting the results that I wanted. And that's when, you know, it really eventually, not it took a while, but eventually it dawned on me like, whoa, everybody is selling something. Like every person that I'm watching and observing on YouTube has some sort of offer. And when obviously when it got to that point of the video, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, okay, on to the next guru, on to the who can I
Mhm. Mhm.
strategy can I get to next for free? And I wasn't even reading the notes or the links. I wasn't worried about their pitch. I was next, next. And finally it dawned on me like, wow, they were doing this to get ready for their pitch, which was the real meat and potatoes of what I probably needed to learn.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that would have taken me to the next level. So for me, I would say honestly, this whole 2019, this whole mentoring thing, has kind of got a lot of people are on a soapbox and just zipping all over, and it is a scary time. I'm not going to lie to you, especially in e-commerce. You know, like a lot of these young kids, young millennials, they're just so smart when it comes to technology and comes to like creating illusions and things like that. So I would say it is a scary time for people who want the knowledge to actually invest in themselves to get it, because you really don't know who to trust, like you said.
Mhm.
And for me, that was the main thing that stood out in drop shipping. I just remember researching and never seeing anybody that looked like me. Like one, no minorities, two, no women. Like no women were teaching drop shipping. Yeah, there were women out there like, oh, how to make money online or 10 ways to make money online. Yeah, but I didn't want to do those ways. I wanted to do drop shipping, and there were no drop shippers that were female and no minorities, period. I think Jay Rich was the first guy and a black guy that did it. And I was just like, whoa, I want to work with him. Like off rip, I didn't even care about anything. I was just like, I want to work with him. Like finally, everybody, that's just when I felt excited to know that like, I think this is real. Before I knew results or anything, I just felt like finally it's not just the same old thing, you know? And so I would say tip number one is, you know, just because someone really, really knows their stuff, just because someone has made millions of dollars, whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean that they are good teachers. And I've invested and lost a lot of money in working with the wrong types of people because I was trying to go to like the top. When you do that, you know, you're working there's a few things to keep in mind. One is that the bigger the person that you're going to work with, the less time they have for the
Mm,
students. And it's sad to say that, a lot of people, it's not everybody in the space of mentoring is doing it with the intention of really caring about the people who are investing in them. And I think it's just very important to kind of know the backstory and just like know your mentor before you just invest and worship your mentor and everything that comes out of their mouth, because not everybody comes from the same thing, not everybody understands or had the same journey. I want the mentor who's failed a lot and lost a lot of money. I want the mentor who's also invested a lot to learn to get to where they are.
mhm.
I've talked to coaches these days who've never even been coached themselves, like they've never invested in a coach, and it's just like, how the hell, how, like, what do
Yeah.
you mean, or I talk to these people who teach drop shipping, and I'm just like, how many stores did you have that failed before this one? And they're like, oh no, my first store made me $200,000. And it's like, your first store
That's
did
so
that?
good. Right.
Really? Okay, so if I do something wrong, like, how are you going to know I'm doing it if you
Exactly.
only had one experience? You know what I mean? So it's so important to make sure that you understand who your mentor is and what they did to get them to where they're at today. And more importantly, like, that they can teach in a way that you can resonate with the message. Because I worked with some really amazing people in this industry, but I don't know, not to say it was their fault. I have a specific learning style. I have to be, things have to make sense to me on like every level in order for it to make sense. Like one time, like I have to get it visually. Like I'm a pain, I'm not the easiest to work with. But the good thing about it is that then when it's my turn to teach, I make sure I cover all my bases. My students will tell you that's why my testimonies are so good, because the one thing, if they can't say anything else about me, the one thing that they will say is that I'm so detailed and I leave nothing out, because that's my learning style. So naturally, I teach that way. But when you're working in an industry where everybody, the majority, is 10 years younger than you, one,
Right.
and then comes from something completely different in every area aspect, it becomes very hard. Their examples don't hit home, their lingo doesn't hit home, the speed in which they talk is like, these kids these days, I talk fast. I'm sitting here, yeah, like, do you have riddle, like, do you need some Adderall, like, calm down, it's just hard to learn from people that you don't resonate with. And it doesn't matter if they're millionaires or billionaires. At the end of the day, same thing with makeup artists. When I was a makeup artist, like, these makeup artists are great at doing their own makeup.
Right.
Don't call yourself a makeup artist if you can't replicate that and do it to other people as well. So same thing, you know what I mean? Just because you've gotten results and just because you understand something very well for yourself doesn't mean that you should really necessarily hop over into the teaching space, unless you're really for the people and understand people and how to communicate effectively with others and all of that. And when you're asking someone to, invest in you and trust in you as a mentor, you really, I feel like, need to respect that and really do your absolute best to make sure that you're providing a service that is going to nurture them in that experience. Because the last thing I would ever want to do is have somebody walk away from like a program I had and be like, I drop shipping, don't even ever talk to me about drop shipping, and that was the worst experience of my life. You know what I mean? And there are people that I did work with that made me just wonder, like, do I even want to do this? Is this even a real thing? Like, this is so difficult. And like, maybe
Mm,
it's not for me, because it was their teaching style.
right.
It didn't have to feel that way, but it was just the way that they were communicating. It just made me feel so like, maybe I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's just important. It's so important to really trust and understand your mentor and make sure that you don't buy in for the hype. Don't trust the mentor that has 1 million followers over the mentor with maybe 4,000 followers, because one, that $4,000 mentor probably cares more about his business than growing his followers. One, two, they're probably going to have more time to spend with you when you need the help. Those big ones, the ones that are huge on YouTube and things like that, they're not the ones even checking their messages. They're not the
Right.
ones in their chat groups. They're not the ones that are even doing the customer service for their program. So I learned all that the hard way. I wanted straight to the top. I wanted the Ty Lopez, the Tony. I
Yeah.
wanted all these big names because
Mhm.
that's the names that you hear in this industry.
Mhm.
And when you invest in them, you'll never talk to these people.
Mhm.
Will never meet your mentors. Like, and so I made sure, when it was my time, I wanted to do everything the opposite of how I experienced it.
Perfect.
So I make sure that I offer just a totally different experience, because I just remember what it felt like to invest and feel like, did I just like sign my life away? I just paid
Right.
this amount of money, and is he not going to pick up the phone? Like, I remember crying and just being like, I would set appointments with my mentor. Okay, Friday at 1, I would be there, dead
Right.
crickets, blowing up his phone, days. Like, are you alive? I just spent all this money. Like, you promised me Friday at 1. Don't hear from him till next Wednesday. Oh, hey, my bad. You have a few minutes? No, I'm at work now. Like, no, I
Right.
don't have a few minutes now. And
Right.
feeling like I would do anything, run outside, go on break real quick, run outside just to get 2 minutes of information to answer the questions that I had from last Friday. Like, that was the worst experience of my life. And I just remember feeling like, thank you. Yeah. When I could sit you down for a few minutes over the phone, yeah, you gave me some knowledge that I was able to somehow piece together to make money. But like, that feeling of neglect from someone you trust is literally the worst. And if I didn't have a strong mind, I would have been like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm gonna stick to my job, or I'm gonna find something else. But I let it just fuel me to just go harder, hire another one. And a lot of effort and money went into hiring the wrong people, I will say that. So it's just about trust and making sure that you find somebody that you really resonate with.
Wait, that's really good advice. So it seems like you have the roadmap to really getting started in this industry. All there is to know, especially the research and the marketing piece. I know a lot of people don't think about that when it comes to this industry. So I'm glad that you touched on that. So for members of my community, if they are interested in getting into the dropshipping industry, how can they find out more about you and what you have to offer?
Yes, I would love to help anybody, especially anybody that, comes from your platform. That would be amazing. I'm sure they're already ambitious and entrepreneurial spirited.
Mhm.
I love working with people like that so much, because sometimes, it's challenging. Like, a lot of the people that get drawn to me sometimes have never were like me when I first started. They never invested before, they never had a mentor before. And then when we talk, it's like half the conversation is like, am I trying to convince you of something? Because somewhere along the line, I think things got twisted. Like, I don't even want to convince you. Like,
Right.
call me when you know what I do and you're really, really
And you're
ready.
ready, ready. Hmm.
I don't want to be that person that like begs you to like see the need of a mentor. Hell no. Like, I don't ever want to do that. I'm for the people who are literally looking for someone like me. They resonate with me, my teaching style, how I work, and they want what it is that I have to offer. That's who I want. So, for me, I aim for an enrollment in my program about once a month. I currently have an enrollment that currently pre-enrolling for November. And so if they want to possibly enroll in that, all they would have to do is reach out to me on social media. Honey Gold is my handle, HUNIGOLD. The total price of my program is $2,000, and it is a 6-week online course. I work very, very closely with my students to ensure that they're successful in my program. Um, like I said, covered basically every form of teaching style possible, because I understand that we all learn different, process different. Um, pennies2gold.com, pennies with the number 2.com, is what will lead you into my website, where you can see some testimonials, you can see some results, you can
Cool.
my whole backstory, which I think a lot of people, once they see that, they understand, like, oh, okay, she didn't go to school for marketing. She's not this expert marketer or anything like that. She's just a normal girl who was in a hard time and had to make this work. And
Right.
so, you can book a call with me there, and we'll talk, and I can give you all, everything that basically we talked about here.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
you're not ready, if you have more questions, we can definitely talk there. But it's not a course that's just open to the public where I have a link up and anybody can enroll.
Right.
It's something that so much of my energy goes into my students. I want to make sure we're on the same
The right
page
fit.
and what I put into this and what I'm expecting of you, which is execution on every level. You have to do the work to get the result. It's not a magic trick. I'm not a magician, hocus pocus, like, boo, you're gonna be working, but I'm gonna be
That
there.
every day. So they all know, right? My community knows that. I'm all about taking action, executing what I teach you. I'm just there to give you the knowledge, but if you don't implement it, you're not going to see results. So they are very well aware of that. And so it applies here as well, guys. So Chelsea just dropped some real gems for you guys, and she is opening her enrollment for November. So if anyone is interested, definitely reach out to her at Honeygold, HUNIGOLD, and set up a call with her, get some questions answered, and learn more about what she has to offer and how she can help you.